Hey America, it's another beautiful day in Brooklyn, New York. My name is Gabriel Cooks. Welcome to the channel. Before we get started, if you have any comments, any concerns, any disagreements, be sure to voice that in the comments below. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the disbanding of the NYPD's anti-crime unit and how that's affecting crime throughout New York City. I also wanted to talk about a groundbreaking NYPD training video which came out within the week, and it's showing the direction our country is going in terms of police reform. So what exactly is the NYPD anti-crime unit? Well, they're a plainclothes unit that focuses on targeting illegal guns on the streets. It was enacted by Police Commissioner Ray Kelly in the early 2000s as a direct result of the NYPD disbanding the street crimes unit, which was involved in a lot of controversial arrests and aggressive tactic cases. They look like this. So it's a little bit harder to spot them than to spot a regular patrol cop. And they travel in cars that look like this. You can usually see the grill lights. You can usually pick them out, visors, tints. You just know it's usually a cop there. The little antenna thing on the back, you'll usually know it's a cop. Don't take that for granted though, because one time I was jogging around the block and there was this van sitting with the engine running, and I didn't pay it any mind. And on my last lap, they rolled the window down and they waved at me and they were like, "Keep going." And I was like, whoa, I was kind of shook a little bit because I didn't know that there was a cop there. But yeah, usually they're in the Impalas and the Interceptor sedans and stuff like that. And then a difference between them and the street crimes unit is they are on a precinct level compared to the citywide level that the street crimes was on. The anti-crime is in each of the NYPD's 77 precincts and 9 police service areas which police the projects. And I think that's a great idea because that way they can cater to the individual needs of each command. The unit is responsible for a majority of the gun arrests in the city since that's the nature of their work. They're also still involved in a lot of controversial cases, including that of Eric Gardner. And the real question I wanted to get to is, should the unit have been disbanded? The answer to that is a simple no. Crime is up, and criminals know at night that after the blue and white passes down the block, they can do whatever they want. I was rolling through the Brownville section of Brooklyn last night down Junior Street by the projects, and 2 shootings. It's just ridiculous. Too many candles are on our street corners. And if anti-crime was still here, there would have probably been an arrest made. I mean, I check the Twitter sometimes. You can see who's wanted in your neighborhood on the different NYPD Twitters. And you know, when anti-crime was still a thing, you look on the Twitter, you see boom, wanted poster for this shooting, or boom, this person has been arrested and apprehended. And I think we need an aggressive unit to tackle these types of things. The people of these communities don't want no police. They don't want the police to go away. We know we need the police for safety in our neighborhoods, especially units like this. But I kind of knew it was bound to happen sooner or later with the state this city and the country was going in terms of politics and it being the election season. I kind of expected it to happen. So, you know, disappointed, but expecting it. But the second part of this video was the bulk of why I wanted to make this video in the first place. This week, the NYPD released, well, not this week, but last week, the NYPD released a video regarding how officers should handle arresting suspects and the different positions they should use. Take a look.
Bringing resistant subjects into custody has always been challenging. It's a natural impulse to do what you must to control the subject. The most common mistake is probably kneeling on a subject's back to secure them in a prone position. Officers must understand that such actions are now misdemeanor crimes. Do not use a chokehold, neck hold, or headlock on the subject of an arrest. Do not sit, kneel, or stand on the subject's back or chest. I am now going to show you actions that are prohibited when taking people into custody. The following positions are prohibited and may place pressure to the throat, windpipe, or carotid arteries. Placing my arm around the subject's neck while I'm behind him. Placing my arm around the subject's neck while I'm beside him. Placing my arm around the subject's neck while I'm in front of him. Any of these positions are also prohibited if we are in a grounded position. Police officers are prohibited from sitting, kneeling, or standing on a subject's chest or back. The following is a demonstration of techniques we cannot do. After initiating a takedown of the subject, I cannot kneel on the subject's back. I cannot kneel on the subject's neck. I cannot sit on the subject's back. I cannot stand on the subject's back. From a face-up position, I cannot kneel on the subject's chest. I cannot kneel on the subject's neck. I cannot sit on the subject's chest, and I cannot stand on the subject's chest. You may still place the subject in a prone position. The prone position is usually the best option for controlling a resisting subject to complete handcuffing. Use arm holds and other holds to immobilize the subject until the cuffs are on. If you see your partner applying a chokehold or sit, kneel, or stand on a subject's back or chest, stop them or physically move them, just as you would stop or move an officer to protect from crossfire dangers.
I'm sorry I had to put you viewers through that. Insanity is what that was. All these are now prohibited, and these movements are now misdemeanor crimes in New York City. For most officers, well, not for most, but for the officers of the NYPD, that's probably going to mean termination. You can't be a cop with that on your record. At least I don't think so. And for those who are like, why is this a bad thing? Just think for a second. You have a non-compliant suspect, and there's almost no way to fight and detain a suspect without using one of those positions. Those are, I believe, jiu-jitsu positions, and they're tried, tested, and proven in terms of controlling a suspect. So officers can't use that. Boom, a taser's out. Boom, a baton is out. Boom, OC is deployed. Boom, their service pistol is out, and it's just really bad, because then people are going to cry police brutality, and it's just going to get worse in terms of policy making. But it's kind of like an oxymoron, because these policies are making it so that you have to make more policies that defeats the purpose of the policies, and it's not for the good of the public. And it's going to cause officers to use more force than necessary, because they're not going to want to touch the suspect. They basically can't. It's going to be a crime basically to touch them. They're going to be scared to do their jobs. And then lower income communities where more arrests are happening, lower income, higher crime communities, they're going to say, oh, the police don't want to police here, they're discriminating against these communities. And it's like, what? It's not making any sense to a reasonable individual. And with shootings up 200% this year. Robberies up, burglaries are up. Infants and young kids are being killed on street corners. And de Blasio canceled the hiring of 1,000 officers in the city. They're taking cops out of schools now, school safety. And it's like the fate of New York City isn't in the hands of the cops. People are making the cops out to be the bad guys in all this, but it's really not. It's the politicians, and it's election season, so you know that that's going to happen with bail reform, releasing the violent offenders back onto the streets, and with half of Rikers out on the streets because of COVID-19 concerns, and then politicians letting these massive protests turn into violent riots, and then blame the cops after these people destroy the very neighborhoods of the people they're chanting need more representation and more power. It's just retarded. Sorry, I gotta use that word, but that's what it is. Guns are on the streets. The number of guns on the streets is piling up because no one's there to collect them. 96 people were shot in New York City from July 5th to July 11th. That's almost, well, it's not unheard of, but that's a very high number that no one wants to see. And the NYPD can't even arrest someone without getting arrested themselves. It's really bad that no one respects the cops anymore, and I really hope that these social workers that they want to put out there are hitting the gym, because they're going to need it. I agree that police reform is needed in this country, but we not only have to look at it with a sense of transparency and efficiency, but also common sense, or else it's going to keep getting worse out there. That's all I have for today, peeps. If you have any new info or disagreements, be sure to leave that in the comments. If you like what you see and you want to see more, you also know what to do. Thank you for watching. Stay informed. See you next time.